June 12th, 1944, 0610 hours. Dungeness Headland, English Channel. Low surf hisses on shingle while two squat pump houses hum like sleeping animals, gauges trembling at the edge of their needles. On the beach, a cylinder the size of a cottage, painted to pass for a fishing shed from the air, begins to turn. Cablemen in oilskins chant a count, winches bite, and a black hose as thick as a man's thigh slips toward a gray horizon that leads straight to France. Two truths share the minute. German analysts still brief that Allied armor will choke on ports and petrol, and the Allies are in the act of laying a fuel artery under the sea. Promise of value. A tight, numbers-first breakdown of PLUTO. Pipeline under the ocean, the quiet logistics weapon that turned fuel bottleneck into fuel firehose. Roadmap. Why fuel, not tanks, sets tempo. The hardware. Lead-cord chise pipe, steel HAMEL pipe, giant Conundrum drums, multi-stage pump houses with pressure control. The routes. Initial lines into the Cotentin toward Cherbourg, then the larger Dungeness Boulogne grid. The methods, underwater laying, leak-proof couplings, shore camouflage. And the payoff, throughput rising to near million-gallon-per-day peaks that kept divisions moving when weather shut ports and air. If clear, evidence-driven WW2K logistics stories help you plan content. Tap subscribe and stay with me. Now let's pump gas under a war. Start with physics and fear. Armies don't maneuver on courage, they maneuver on octane. Normandy's beaches could ingest men and ammo. Petrol was the cliff edge. Jerry believed the cliff would hold. Wreck a Mulberry, mine a road, strafe a tanker, and tempo dies. PLUTO answered with a premise so simple it sounded insane. Don't move fuel on ships that need docks. Push it through pipes that need water. Enter HAMEL and HAMEL. HAMEL, named for Hartley Anglo-Iranian Siemens, was a lead-cord, layered hose. Seamless lead tube for impermeability, spiraled steel tapes for strength, jute and bitumen wraps for abrasion, armor wires for teeth, flexible enough to coil, strong enough to take seabed knocks. HAMEL was the heavier steel approach, welded sections to give a stiffer, higher pressure line where you could lay straight and protect joints. To move them, engineers built the Conundrum, a floating spool ship that looked like a giant seaside toy, a rotating drum wound with miles of pipe, powered to pay out smoothly while tugs kept station in tide and swell. On shore, pump houses stacked stages like lungs in series, electric motors or diesels driving pumps through reducers, delivering petrol at regulated pressures that would not burst a lead core nor starve a core-level tank park. Verdict meme. Ports are policy. Pressure is power. Mini-hook. The enemy can bomb a pier. He cannot bomb water. Methods mattered. Underwater laying was choreography. Survey craft ran soundings to avoid snags. Divers checked shorelines for fair leads. The Conundrum paid out while an escort screen shooed away curiosity and tide. Leak-proof couplings, glanded, flanged, built for misalignment, joined lengths without becoming failure museums. Shore exits hid in plain sight. Camouflaged culverts, fake chalets, dunes that breathed petrol without smelling like it. Inland, PLUTO handed to a growing grid, buried lines, road verge pipe, and tanker farms that fed distribution points the way arteries feed capillaries. Numbers you can taste. Early Cotentin lines proved the concept at tens of thousands of gallons per day. The Dungeness Boulogne stretch scaled that into hundreds of thousands, with peak daily totals pressing toward 1 million gallons as additional pumps and parallel strings joined the web. Every added string multiplied resilience. If a nick or anchor strike killed one, pressure and flow rerouted around the wound. Now translate flow into freedom. A corps on a fighting march can drink 200,000 plus gallons a day. A breakout army gulps more. Before PLUTO, that demand lived on weather, key space, and hulls. After PLUTO, fuel arrived like electricity, continuous, meterable, less photogenic than convoys, but more reliable. The timing matters. June saw lines proven into the Cotentin to ease Cherbourg's slow resurrection. By late summer and autumn, the Dungeness-Boulogne grid lit up in sections, spliced into inland pipes that leaped forward with the front. When storms slapped Mulberry A to pieces and the channel sulked, PLUTO turned annoyance into inconvenience. Truck columns shortened, tanker risk fell, depots could plan instead of pray. Mini-hook. Strategy is what remains when weather stops being a veto. The German bet that Allied armor would stall on fuel collapsed not in speeches but in pound per square inch. Intercepts and recon could count Liberty hulls. They could not see pressure waves under gray water. Field reports read like relief. Received planned allocation despite port closure. Tanker convoy canceled, pipeline sufficient. Numbers again, because numbers pay for claims. By winter, cumulative PLUTO deliveries sat in the tens of millions of gallons. Day peaks flirted with 7 figures. Losses to leaks and theft were statistical noise against volume. Doctrine caught up. Staffs began to treat fuel as a flow problem, not a voyage problem. Balance pump curves, add a parallel string, extend inland laterals, raise depot draw, and let the sea pipe breathe. Verdict meme. Don't chase supply, raise pressure. The image to keep is not a glamorous convoy. It's a watch gauge in a shed. A needle steady at a value it means an armored division 50 miles away will not stop today. If this breakdown helped, numbers first, myths second. Tell me in the comments which piece did the most work. Hayes flexibility, HAMEL strength, or the Conundrum's laying speed. And what should we decode next? How Mulberry and PLUTO complemented each other in the June storm window, or the inland pipeline French rail handshake that turned a beachhead into a rolling logistics expressway. Lasting lesson. Build logistics as networks, not heroics. PLUTO did not replace tankers. It made them optional on bad days and additive on good ones. It turned fuel from a queue into a pressure reading and made German fuel bottleneck briefings obsolete without a single parade photo. In total war, the quiet gauge on a wall can be louder than any gun.